9 games on the weekend. Mainly predictable results, but Kingy, I always let you go first. Where do your first thoughts lie this Monday morning?
Well, my first thoughts go to, do the Cats now have the game that can match Brisbane?
Tell me more.
Well, everyone's talking about the new handball game that they played on the weekend. I don't know if it has been creeping into their game, no doubt. I'm not sure it's an absolute thing until we see it for a bit longer. But it was brilliant on the weekend. On Saturday night, it was awesome to watch them just link by hand. Normally they go fast, wide by foot, but they broke into a different mode and set a record for. Joey presented some stuff last night. I think it was their highest handball meters gained, bar one performance for about a decade, about 10 or 12 years. So, is this them? And if it is them, can it challenge Brisbane? Because I think the handball game is breaking down defences. So those that have a great set back six and a set way of defending are now getting disrupted by this new run and gun model. So it's challenging all. Does it challenge Brisbane? We find out on Thursday night.
We will. What a game that's going to be at the Gabba on Thursday night. The third quarter, their running power, I was watching on TV, you were there, but you could just see it. Like Holmes, Smith, Dempsey, even Cameron. The run that they have in this squad, Mullen, O'Connor, they can just all run, and it just looked as though Collingwood couldn't go with them when they went to that mode in the third term. I do watch my taggers closely, Kingy.
You love a good tagger.
And he's arrived. The Irish Dacos beating the real Dacos on Saturday night was a thing of beauty. It was a thing of beauty. They call him the Irish Dacos. That's how good he was at the Gaelic game. He's now emerging as a genuine player. They've been pretty patient with him, but all the talk about can you tag Nick Dacos, and you look at his numbers, Nick, and you go, he's still at 29. But did he? Dive a little bit deeper. I went and watched yesterday every single possession that Dacos had and Mullen had. Firstly, some numbers on this in terms of where Nick won his ball. So Nick had 22 disposals in the back half. He kicked it at 42%. Thought he turned the footy over. His kicking hasn't been the best this year. He only had 2 clearances and 4 score involvements. Mullen had 21, 9 score involvements, 5 clearances and 10 possessions in the front half. That's how you play him. Starting point reference. If he wins the footy, you are all over him to pressure the disposal. And then at the right opportunity, if you can sense it, get off him and get off him in the forward half, which is what he did, and then Nick gets a little bit desperate. Nick, you can tell, because Nick needs the footy, so then he goes and takes a kick out. Oh, if Nick's taking kick outs, perfect. Happy days. And then he'll get it back from a kick out. And then there was one instance where he took a kick out, got it back, and then he got a last disposal free kick, all in about 30 seconds. And you go, okay, well, if Nick's getting it in the back half, that's perfect for us. I thought it was an absolute masterclass from the Irish Dacos on Saturday night, and I just wanted to give him a shout out this morning for what a brilliant game. He has to get coaches' votes. I assume he does. I assume he doesn't get all of them, but I think the coaches would recognise what a performance that was.
He's knocked a few good ones over, hasn't he?
Yeah, he got
Bont. He got Rankin.
I reckon Butters got him this year, but he's got Butters previously.
He's been good against Butters in the past. Yeah. It's just such an asset that you can say, okay, he's not going to be hopeless when he gets the ball. He's got that awkward gait, hasn't he?
Yeah,
but he travels.
Correct. He used to make me nervous every time he's got the ball, but he's a bit more sure now. I think he's understanding his game. Like if it's a handball, give the handball, or it's a short kick. But he can run, and I don't know what it looks like in 5 years' time. But he's emerging as a very good footballer. So well done.
I've got a question. I don't necessarily have the answer. I have an opinion, but I want those out there to give me their thoughts. Who's the hardest worker in the competition? Who's the hardest runner, the hardest effort player, the hardest... Well, we're talking about tractors this morning, but not necessarily slow. I want someone who's the hardest worker. In my opinion, I don't know if I've seen a competitor like Tristan Sherry.
Okay, good one.
He is just relentless. Now, it doesn't matter if he's getting beaten or he's on top or whether the team's winning or losing. He's just 100% of the time.
This is a good question. I love this angle, and I'm not going to disagree with you. I think.
Have you got a nomination or two?
Well, I think Butters is an incredibly hard worker.
Yeah.
I think his ability to will himself to contest and then win contest. We've got some great runners in the game. I think Nasai is now a great runner, hard worker, understanding what you have to do to be tagged. I think Holmes is the way that
Bailey
he covers
Smith.
the ground. Bailey Smith, I'll get to in a tick. Yeah, but in terms of just brute force, ability to win contest and all of that.
Could you come up with a 1, 2, 3 for me before the show's out?
Yeah, let's do that. Hey, just on Bailey Smith, what a recruit he's been.
Oh.
Like, it just struck me as I was watching the footy. And he's a little bit quiet in the first half, but I'm going, so the best players do it every single week. So he's played 31 games for Geelong, Bailey Smith. Only 3 out of the 31 he hasn't had 25 disposals, and the other 3 were sort of low 20, 22, 23. The consistency to just rock up and do that every single week. In the second half, he had 25, 11 score involvements, and over 400 metres gained, and Geelong gave up picks 17 and 38 to get him. This is one of the great recruits, and we get distracted by Bailey, and yep, there's a few headaches here and there. There's been 0 headaches this year, so I think he's sort of pulled his head in somewhat off the field as well, or he's just doing it in a way where it doesn't cause any extra attention onto him and the club. But he needs a big shot. What a recruit he has been. He was enormous in the second half, and speaking about willing yourself to contest, that's what he does. So yeah, he's a star, Bailey Smith, and one of Geelong's best ever recruits already. So, what a bargain it was to get him.
It's a great call. I read with interest in the Herald Sun the article regarding the fallout with the New Carlton sort of mental health battle that we've talked about with Elijah Hollands, and Chris Davies had some really accurate and informative things to say. And I just wonder if the reality meets the desire from the AFL. Is it actually functional and possible for us to have these psychs for 0.6 of a week, so 3 days a week, given that they run their businesses and they're working out of hours, they're going to have to travel with teams, they're going to have to be there game day. A lot of these things are not the reality of today, and we're trying to make change. But how hard is it going to be for 18 clubs to have this type of, or this level of person in your club with the money available at Clubland in the soft cap, with the money available from the AFL? Everything's stretched as it is. Yeah. I don't think the reality matches the desire of Laura Kane and those at the AFL.
This is the Elijah Holland situation. This has been one of the greatest overreactions I've seen from the AFL. Like, we've seen it. I'm sure there's been other players suffering from mental health on game day, so I don't want to, play that down at all. But we haven't seen anything like this before. I doubt now, especially, we'll ever see it again. And the AFL are mandating full-time psychologists to the club, and every club's telling us that this is so unrealistic. We get texts coming through from ballers listening, going, "I've tried to get my daughter or my son or my child in to see a psychiatrist or a psychologist, and the wait is 6 months."
Yeah.
Like, these people have work coming out of their ears. They don't need to be going to AFL clubs dealing with the extra pressures of that. So clearly I'm not qualified to speak about it, but then there's psychologists, then there's psychiatrists who are the ones that prescribe the medication. So what is it? Is it a psychologist or a psych? Which one is it, and which one are you prioritising? I just think, as I said on Crunch Time on Saturday with Kenny, leave it in the hands of your doctors. The doctors have always known the best care for their players. They will refer you to the specialist that they think is best for you, and they will have the resources and the access to do that.
I didn't get a chance to listen on Saturday morning.
That's okay.
I was probably 0.25 at that stage. But when you're employing at AFL level, they go for competition best. They go for the elite standards, right?
Yeah.
You have to. You've got no choice. So Chris was talking, and I wonder what this is going to look like in 2 years. Is this just another thing we bring in and water down almost immediately? He's talking about, if you're going to put someone in this facility, in this elite environment, they have to have 10 years experience. So you're not getting anything. There's no bargain buys. So I just think this is miles from reality. And if they're so separated from what's possible at Clubland, then we're in all sorts of trouble again.
All sorts.
So get with get with the actual reality of AFL land. It's another separating factor for me. And Laura's been at Clubland. She knows what's likely to happen here. She's seen it. She's lived it. She did COVID, for God's sake, up for the Kangaroos up north. So I just think this is miles from what we're going to see.
Well, Mitch Cleary was all over it straight away at that media conference. Well, he just asked a follow-up question, which had Laura unable to answer it in terms of the implementation of this and how it's going to be rolled out. And to me, it didn't feel like they'd thought about the flow-on effect down the line. So it was a great follow-up question. We'll wait and see, but yeah, clubs are a little bit frustrated by this. Hey, do you think Zach Butters and or Cozzy Pickett, neither of them will get suspended because the player wasn't concussed that they hit high? Do you think they should be suspended?
Cozzy, you're talking about?
Cozzy and Zach. I think they're similar but different.
Yeah.
So Zach's clearly off, and
Yeah.
and as Tom reported on Saturday, wouldn't have an issue. I think he should be suspended for that.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. I think in this environment to do what he did, and we all love Zach Butters clearly, but that was a ridiculous thing to do. And just because the player Fraser's not hurt, doesn't mean you just should get off. So if he's hurt, he gets 3.
Yeah.
But he's fine, he gets none.
Yeah, you know my thoughts on this. Suspend the action and elevate if there's significant trauma. So just elevate.
It was a 1 weeker.
Yeah. And you know what? Most players say, yep, you know what? You're right. I'll put my hand up for that. Next time you're here, mate, it's not 1, it's 2. So we've got to stamp this out. 1 week's enough. Fines don't work. And I think the Cozzy one is millimetres from 6 weeks. Millimetres. Because he's got history, this guy. I said last night, Stephen King needs to sit him down and say, mate, you are getting 6 weeks next time you do this. Because you've got a couple on the rap sheet already, and you've had, I reckon, 3 flybys. Yeah. 3 near hits.
Who was it was on Bailey Smith, wasn't it? That spearing, jumping thing that he did.
Hitters hit, don't they? When was that? Was that last year or the year before?
No, it was the year before, early on in the season. The Ballers will know. It was a jumping, spearing jump.
He's on today, the double agent.
Yeah, good. He knows.
You give him a good sharpener last week. Give straight.
But you could tell Cozzy was mortified by what he'd done because he's like, oh, and he looked straight up to have a look at the replay on the. So I just think I think both of them are a week. Now they won't get a week. I know that because the player's not hurt. But
I don't
he was
he was
rattled. Wow.
He didn't actually get him. But if he did, it's 6 weeks. That's a fine line, isn't it? It's a dangerous game he's playing.
Stephen King's going to join us, Ballers, a little bit later on. So we'll ask him that question. Tom Morris is also going to jump on live in the studio for the agenda. Your feedback as well. How should Collingwood, just a final, put a bow on this Collingwood situation, Kingy, which you and I have sort of been on the same page all year, right from the pre-season, that at some point it's going to get really difficult for them. You look through their best players on the weekend, and they're not young. Their highest rated players: DeGoey, Howe, Pendlebury, Dacos, Maynard, Houston, Crisp, Lipinski. Not a whole lot of youth in that crew coming through. It's going to get mightily ugly for this group.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any hurry to make these decisions. I mean, you've got to just keep your finger on the pulse. It's what do we come up to round 10? There's no hurry. Like you can fall off the cliff in 10 weeks in AFL footy, or you can gather and go again. So I don't think there's any hurry. You just have open and honest conversations with these guys. If it were as it is today, this is probably where we're leaning. So you give the player some, a runway. To whether you're likely to go with them or not, but you got to change your mind. You got to be flexible. I'm not in any desperate hurry to delist any of these guys, but I'm in no hurry to give them a positive affirmation either.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. But there's clearly some big decisions that need to be made around this list, as we've discussed.
I'm looking forward to I'm excited about what Collingwood are going to do with Pendlebury the next 2 weeks, and I might be on an island here, but I think that these great clubs have an unbelievable knack of tapping into the fan base and knowing what they want. They've got a huge supporter base. Anything that they do will be well supported and well represented by the black and white army. But they will do something different in the next 2 weeks. Everyone will go, oh, why didn't we think of that? Why didn't we see this coming? The gap between what the Kangaroos did for Brent Harvey and what Collingwood will do for Scott Pendlebury will be north and south pole.
You're not happy with Boomer's?
No, I just want to see what Collingwood would do, and I think they'll set the template for these sorts of celebrations going forward.
You got a little tune for us?
A tune for us? Have I? No, I've got something before that. I want to give you just a little. We had a chat in here last week. There's a couple of things were annoying us behind the scenes. Some players They're like little Bourke Street. It's all one way. The feedback that they give is all one way, right? And I think Justin McInerney is very good on the sledge. Very, very good on the sledge, right? Now, when you are good on the sledge and you want to get in everyone's face after you've kicked a goal or the teammates have kicked a goal, you have to be bulletproof. You can't duck your loaf. You can't fumble. You cannot stand under. You have to stand under a high ball every now and then. Minute 36 to go, second quarter. He ducks his head, and he costs his team a goal. Now, if you're going to give it, you got to take it. And
yes.
I think that this type of player we're going to call Little Bourke Street, feedback is now coming your way.
Can I add one to Little Bourke Street?
Yes, you can.
Patrick Voss.
Hello, Patrick.
Welcome to Little Bourke Street.
Welcome
Sit
to Little
down,
Bourke.
get yourself a coffee, and join in. Sit at the table with McInerney and order yourself a hot latte.
All the chest.
Because welcome. And
Yep.
then he drops a simple chest mark and worries about the contact that's coming his way. Oh, I got gastro today. I can't play. Well, come on, Vossi. If you're going to rub the head of the opposition, sit yourself where you need to sit yourself when the ball's coming your area.
Ballers, keep your eye out for a couple of Little Bourke Streeters over the next few weeks, because I hate it when it's all one way. And the Swans are good at it. The mental disintegration that they attack the opposition with gusto after a mistake or a goal, and Papley and McInerney. I think McInerney's the best at it, but you know what? You didn't stand under a high ball when you had to. You didn't go back with the fly. You were worried about Jack Darling, and in the end, coughed up a goal.
The best that ever did this, like in terms of the good side of this, was the Brisbane Lions dynasty. Like, Vossi was the best. Like, he could give it to you, and then you just knew he was never, ever, ever going to shirk an issue. All of them. Lappin, whoever, not that Lappin said much at all, but Jonathan Brown, clearly, whoever they were on the Scott brothers, like, you knew that they, in that position, would make sure that they didn't shirk any issue. So it's a good topic. We'll add it to the fireball list of sayings. Little Bourke Street, welcome, 0433 98 11 16. Hey, Tom Morris was with us, I don't know, a number of weeks ago, and he spoke about the contract that Matthias Philippou got at the Saints. So let's revisit this from a few weeks ago.
Matthias Philippou re-signed halfway through last year, extended 2 years, 27 and 2028. My understanding is that extension is around $1 million a year. He hasn't quite won over his teammates yet either, Kane. I'll give you that much.
And $1 million. So $1 million from Philippou, no worries if that's what you want to pay. But the problem with that is when you've got another youngster that needs to get paid, who's better than Philippou, and I'm speaking about Darcy Wilson. What's his management going to go to the club and say, hey, Gubby or Sosh, you paid Flanders $900, you paid Philippou $1 million. Oh, it's okay, we'll take 1.2. This creates problems for the rest of the group when others need to get paid. Because he's turning himself into a very, very good footballer. 20 years of age, Wilson. He's kicked 4 in tough conditions. He kicked 5 late last year against the Giants. He's a running weapon. He suits the way that the game is going to be played. Someone else will give him big, big dollars. What are the Saints prepared to lose him for? Maybe we'll ask Tom about that and the update on that a little bit later on.
The Kangas are into him from memory.
Well, they should be.
Yeah, I think they are into him.
They should be.
I'm not sure if he can play centre-half back or full-back, but...
Well, we got Pinky.
I know.
He can come back.
Sorry, I forgot.
JK, where's our music? So that's when you hit the button. You just go, Pink Pony Club.
Now, you know what he's been out the back doing?
Working out when the car's going to be ready to drive.
We got to sort that out after the show, I think. A bit disappointed the Sheen panel service hasn't got much to run today, but we will get it going on Friday. Sunday, Bloody Sunday. This is one of my favourite. Fridays, and we're leaving crumbs for Sunday afternoon. Melbourne Eagles, Richmond Adelaide. We got the Suns and Giants last week. Swans and Melbourne was a pretty good game. St Kilda Eagles, Brisbane Adelaide. What's Jake? What do you?
I beg to differ.
What are you raising your hand for?
He's our Sunday man.
Oh, what do you got? What do you do?
Kate Chandler kicked a good goal yesterday.
Go on.
Chandler and the spin. Chandler, left foot kick. Goal of the day from Kate Chandler. That was magic from Chandler.
I love it. I love it.
Oh, this week, Essendon
He's in
Freo.
good form. He's calling well too.
He's calling really well
Oh, yeah.
and versatile.
Yeah.
The AFL, World Game, whatever it is.
Will he get the
NFL?
Will he get the call up to a bit of Friday night action on SEN? Do you think down the track?
Surely. Well,
What needs to happen for that?
Someone will come down with an illness. Winter sets in. Someone's throat will be a bit tickly. Jake, I can do it. St Kilda, Richmond, and West Coast the Giants is your Sunday slate for round 10. So Sunday, bloody Sunday is about right. All right. Last week we debuted a new little segment. It was with Tom. I thought Tom just ruined it a little bit. So just you and
Tom ruined it a little bit.
It's
back.
It's time for this.
Now on Fireball. This is H.O.F or not.
We put David King under the microscope, and they can't just all be yeses like you were last week, just so you don't...
Oh, now you're going to answer for me.
Australian Football Hall of... This is the highest of high honours in our game, and you've got to decide whether these players make the Football Hall of Fame upon their retirement 5 years post. Okay. Let's start, and hear me out, with Ollie Wines. 279 games for Ollie Wines. He was a Port Adelaide captain. He was a Brownlow medalist in 2021. He was an All-Australian in the same year, and he won the club best and fairest. H.O.F or not, Ollie Wines?
Not for me. No, but Brownlow medalist, wonderful career, but not Hall of Fame level for me. Is that whether?
No, that's
I like
fine.
your feedback. I'm sort of
I'm
got an uncomfortableness doing this one.
Tommy,
where are you, Tommy?
I thought about the same. Okay. Now, borderline maybe, and maybe long down the line. Like some players wait years and years and years to get in. All right, let's go with Christian Petrarca. 219 games, 215 goals. Premiership player in 21. Norm Smith medal in that game. 4-time All-Australian. He's a dual best and fairest at the Demons, and he was a leading goal kicker in 2019 at the same club. Christian Petrarca, H.O.F or not?
He's a yes for me. I think he's been he's shifted a football club. Oliver, Petrarca, Max Gawn, I think those three will all get in at some stage.
He's a yes for me. Josh Dunkley, 202 games, Brisbane Lions co-captain. He's a 3-time premiership player, 16, 24, 25. He won a best and fairest at the Dogs. He won a best and fairest in a premiership year at the Lions. He's a most courageous player award winner as well in 25. Josh Dunkley, H.O.F or not?
I think he's along the Anthony Stevens line. So I'm a yes for Dunkley, even though his game tally is a bit lower than the other guys you've mentioned over the last 2 weeks. He's a yes for me. Is he a yes for you?
His record is building to Hall of Fame levels.
A yes for you?
I would reassess Dunkley at the end of his career. If there's another premiership to this and it's 4 and there's 50 or so more games, then it's going to be hard to ignore. 2 more. Tom Lynch, 241 games, 495 goals. He's a dual premiership player in 19 and 20. He's an All-Australian only once. He's a dual Gold Coast Suns club champion. He's a 2-time Richmond leading goal kicker, and he's a 4-time Gold Coast goal kicker leading, and he was the Gold Coast captain. Tom Lynch, H.O.F or not?
That's a tough one.
It's a hard one.
This is your best one. This is your best one. It's your best one.
The next one's good too.
This is a terrific one. I'm a bit stumped here. I want to say yes, but I don't know if look, when you have Walker versus Lynch, I said no to Tex Walker, and he's right on the edge for me, Lynch. I'm going to say yes because I think being at the Gold Coast, it can be hard work starting a startup club. So I'm giving a bit of grace for that, a little bit of Gold Coast tax. So he's a yes for me.
I think he's a yes for me. He's not an automatic inductee, but sort of 10, 12 years down the line, I think he gets there. Last one. This is a good one.
good one. Better than the last one. Jeez.
I don't know if it's better, but it's a good one. Tom Stewart played game number 200 on the weekend. He's a premiership player in 2022. He's a 5-time All-Australian, Tom Stewart, and he's a dual best and fairest winner. Tom Stewart from the Cats, the late starter, H.O.F or not?
He's an absolute yes for me.
Absolute yes.
Two of my favourite ever players to watch could both wear the number 44 for the Cats.
Is he an automatic?
I think he's an automatic.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought this one would have
No,
paused you
I
for a
love
brief
this guy.
moment.
No,
we all do.
No, I think he gets unders with what he's done.
Okay.
And I think that when you look at the numbers, I did an article on him for the Herald Sun on the weekend. No one has created more scores from their intercepts in the code than this guy.
Tom Stewart is a yes. So we've got 4 yeses and 1 no. Poor old Ollie Wines is the only one not.
Well, that's harsh. That's not nice.
For Boss stick quality you can trust and rely on, available at your local hardware and construction specialist. No surprising losses, I didn't think, on the weekend. No nasty losses. I think all the results were reasonably predictable, albeit the Genius would be a bit flat, leading by 10 points with about 4 minutes to go and not getting that one done with 4 entries in the last quarter. So they could be mentioned, but I think it's Adelaide, Kingy. I know they won. But were Adelaide the biggest loser on the weekend?
Adelaide the biggest loser despite the fact they won. That's very interesting logic. I'm not 100% sure how to think about it. No. I think the biggest loser was the West Coast Eagles. Not in terms of the results. I'm not worried about results with, say, some of those bottom 3 or 4 teams, but just how they lose. And some of their stuff behind the ball was just a calamity. A calamity. We showed some stuff last night. It was like under 12s at stages. Everyone just chasing the footy. And I'm like, is that really what you're setting up? Is that really what you want to do?
All right, the biggest loser for Kingy was the West
Can
Coast
I
Eagles.
throw?
For me, it was
Have we got
Adelaide.
another topic I can throw in here?
Yeah.
Name me a player. Right, you were on the All Australian list committee last year, so you'll have a good handle.
It's a sore point, so
Is it
it's still fresh.
still raw? Sorry, I shouldn't have brought that up. Yeah, you're familiar with the bends? When you fall so quickly, you can get the bends.
Divers
get it. Yeah,
and you've got to come to the surface slowly to make sure you don't get it.
Has anyone fallen as far as Riley Thilthorpe?
What's happened?
Has anyone got the bends in 2026 like Riley Thilthorpe has?
No, I don't think. What has happened to him?
It just looks a different player. He looks a shell of the model we saw last year. Last year was Sam Darcy and Riley Thilthorpe were the 2 key forwards that just charged the front of the pack and looked unbelievable. Look, it was their career was just going to go whoosh, and they're going to take the club by storm. He's just become a very average player, and I can't work out why.
I can't work out why, other than I don't think he loves contact. I don't think he loves. He's got the size to love contact and to crash through and to like Tracy. Tracy, I reckon.
Oh, mate.
Loves contact.
He chases it.
Not afraid of so that's for me. That's the difference. Tracy at speed is not scared to hit a pack at speed. Going okay. Aaron Norton doesn't mind. He's not afraid to fly, and then the consequences. He goes, I'll worry about that later, as we've seen a couple of times this year. I think he's a bit timid. Riley, that's the best way to describe. That's the best way to describe him, just from my view of watching him this year.
I don't know whether he's playing angry enough as the way that I was probably going to look at it. Is he really launching at the footy? Is he running under it? But Nick Larkey's doing a little bit the same. It sort of stands up. The bloke's telling me you get the bends when you come up too quickly. I don't think that's right. I think it's when you go down too quickly. But anyway, we'll check that up. I think he's got to launch at the ball at its earliest and just take the pack. Whatever's around him at his size, he can take with him. So
I think he needs. He needs a haircut and a shave too. Like that's
all. You're getting Dennis Pagan here.
Yeah. The hair's got out of control.
You reckon the hair is playing a factor in his form?
I just think you look good, feel good, play good. That's. I feel like he needs to spend some time, get a clean cut shave, a haircut, put a wash his hair. He just looks a bit,
wash as well. Yeah, you don't think it's washed?
I don't think it doesn't look washed to me. It's a bit.
Nixie, get onto it. What are you doing with your players down there?
Sort that out. Hey, what did you think of Rachele? And maybe this is part of the reason because Tex and Fogarty weren't there. 4 centre bounce appearances yesterday for Rachele. We did the Thursday night game in Geelong. He went to 14 of them, was clearly Adelaide's best, and looked to be, okay, well, he's found his spot, midfield, forward, bang. He can't get a look in there. Hardly there in the showdown. Hardly there yesterday. What's happened?
I don't understand it. I just don't understand what they see.
What they don't see, maybe.
Well, Peatling was in for 18 centre bounces yesterday. Dawson,
Saligo would have been in there.
Saligo was in for 8. Dawson was in for 9. Curtin was in for only 3. Yeah, I'm not sure. Good to see Isaac back in there though.
Yeah,
I like he's the magic maker. But
he rarely puts them both in there together.
So they don't defend. Is basically what he's saying.
Probably.
Why not just challenge them to defend? So we're putting you in there. Hey, you got to go the other way as well, and just challenge them to get better.
Yep.
Rather than saying no, we can't do it.
All right. What's the drive? Drive for show, putt for dough. For golf clearance outlet, we beat everyone's prices. What did you think about that for a tick? Golf clearance outlets, golf biggest brands, best range, and we beat everyone's prices. I think it is when you look. I'm not a deep sea diver, but I think you've got to make sure you come
rapid
to the surface
depressurization
slowly to make sure you don't get the bends.
Okay. Well, maybe I got that wrong.
I've never been diving. Have you ever been diving?
No, very much a terra firma operator, me.
Yeah, I'm frightened of diving.
But mate, why would you go somewhere where the sharks
are? I know.
That's their grounds. Get out of there.
Different breed, those divers. Tom Morris, welcome to you, Tommy.
Thank you, Kane. Thank you, Kingy. Good to be with you this morning.
Great to see you, brother.
Always good to see you. Excellent chat with Stephen King. He handles himself pretty well in the media, doesn't he?
Mate. Yeah, he's a down-to-earth ripper.
What about the fact that if his values didn't align, he was just happy to continue on his journey? I think that's part of what made him so attractive, that he was fairly nonplussed about the whole thing, and I think the D's really liked that. Anyway, this morning I want to talk about the key forward pyramid that's taking shape. So you got Ben King at the very top, because it's like a domino effect. Okay. If Ben King re-signs at the Gold Coast Suns, I think his rival clubs expect him to do on that 2-year deal, although he hasn't yet as far as I know. Then there's a whole host of other key forwards around the competition that I think big Victorian clubs in particular will be looking at. So below Ben King, you've then got Mitch Lewis and Joel Amati, who are both free agents. Now, the Swans have offered Joel Amati a new deal. The Mitch Lewis conversations, I think, will commence or ramp up pretty soon. And then below that, you've got Jed Walter, Cal Shadir, and Hayden McLean. So all of a sudden, these forwards become far more valuable if one or more of King, Lewis, and Amati re-sign. And then you've got someone like Ollie Lord, who's out for the rest of the season, who's injured, and Krzyzewski from up north as well. So these are the key forwards that I'd be keeping an eye on. And then you've got the ace in the pack, Kane. Then you've got Jesse Hogan. Massive gap between what Jesse Hogan wants and what the Giants are willing to pay. And that
Chuck me some numbers. Chuck me some numbers. Can you?
I would be giving a calculated guess on numbers. I want to preface it by that.
That's okay.
But I think he's worth about $800,000 a year, if not a little bit more, because of the form he's been in the last couple of years, not necessarily this year as much. And I think you need to pay him that. But I don't think they're offering anywhere near that. I'd be surprised if they're offering more than $500,000 or $600,000 a year, given his age. So there's a gap.
Split the difference for me. I'd be comfortable sort of around the sevens.
750, 70. There's a lot of players on $1 million next year, and he's had a pretty good couple of years.
58 last time I saw, so there'll be more than that next year.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's been average this year though.
Yes, yeah.
Can I
But
put another one into your pyramid?
Yep.
Jamara would be on a 1-year deal.
Yeah, with triggers for a second.
What? Yes. Who owns the triggers?
Good question.
So if he plays enough games, it's a games trigger.
Yeah.
He can,
or they can.
No, they don't have a choice. He triggers another season.
It automatically kicks in.
Yes.
But can he refute the trigger?
He can ask for a trade. No, but he's contracted for next year if he gets those triggers.
Right. So they own the trigger.
They own the trigger.
Okay.
But if he plays that number of games or close to that number of games, then the trigger won't really matter because they want him to stay anyway.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter as much.
But the finances matter.
The finances matter because if he has a very good year,
then
he could be. Then the Gold Coast Suns could be getting something very cheap in 2027.
So if they were the tiers of your pyramid, King down to Amati
McLean.
and
Yeah.
Who was the other one with the
So when
Lewis?
King, then Lewis and Amadi, who are both free agents.
And then down to Walter, McLean, Deere. Where would you have Jamara on that pyramid, Cornsey? Would he become attractive proposition
No,
to you?
I would have him around the McLean levels, if
McLean?
not just a fraction lower. There's a lot that comes with it. Is he going to move to another club? You know, the
Okay.
support that he needs when he goes to the club, all of that. It's a broader discussion, just more so than his
Just a
on-field
watch
ability
for
that
me. A
comes
little
with,
watch.
with Jamara. Hey, I know you've got a lot of things, Tom,
That's
but I
right.
was just interested in Stephen King's answer when we asked him about Zach Butters, and he said, I'm paraphrasing here, but you feel like these discussions happened a year or two out, I think were the words that he said. It's that is really interesting, isn't it? That these decisions, we're all talking about Zach Butters, what's he going to do, is he going to stay, is he going to go? He may have made his mind up and agreed to a deal 12 months ago. This could be done, and it could have been done full stop 12 months ago.
Yep.
Is that good for the game?
It doesn't bother me at all. As you can see, it doesn't affect the way Zach Butters is playing. Does it bother you?
Would he have been able to sign a binding contract 12
No,
months ago
no.
to another club?
No.
A heads of agreement.
No.
Yeah.
They might have a handshake arrangement, but there's no binding contract in the summer before your last season. You can't do that.
Will you be a brave club to walk away from it? So, say if he did his knee or something and the club said, no, we don't want to, we got an agreement, a handshake deal, but no, now we're not.
Well, St Kilda...
You would burn some bridges.
Well, Leah thought he had a handshake deal with St Kilda and they walked away from it. So it's still possible that can happen. Unlikely, though.
Well,
Yeah.
a
Good
bit of
point,
messaging
good point.
coming through. Good discussion. I like that discussion. Nate Caddy, where does he sit on your pyramid?
Well, he's
27.
not out of contract,
Okay,
so
so-
he's not on the pyramid at the moment.
Thanks. There's your answer there, Mark. What about Todd Marshall?
Todd Marshall's a good point as well. Yeah.
I think he's still
contracted, though,
but
yeah.
he would be right down the level of the pyramid. Like
Can he play, Todd Marshall?
He played Sandford on the weekend, kicked a goal.
Can he play?
Not sure.
Yeah.
Used to be able to kick 40-plus goals in a season at one point, but not sure about that now.
Yeah. I'm interested in how the Jesse Hogan situation plays out. I still think the two parties reach an agreement, but it's just a watch. And then Mitch Georgiadis as well, who's contracted until the end of next year. Very close to Zach Butters. I think clubs will have a word to him at the end of the season and see if they can pry him out early. And what does Port Adelaide do then, Kane, if they get a reasonable deal for him?
Well, that's. I think it's in all surrounded by what Zach Butters chooses to do. I think this will trigger the rebuild, the Butters situation that they desperately need. So if he goes and the picks come in for Butters, then that's your signal that you need to rebuild. And then do you go, okay, how far do we cut? If Georgiades is going to go anyway, do we try and get a better deal for him now whilst he's contracted? So that's why you need good list managers at your footy club.
A word on Adelaide. I think they've had a horrible few weeks off the field. And they needed to navigate it very carefully. So Jordan Dawson's brother's funeral was on the Wednesday before the showdown. On the Thursday, Mark Keane gets a phone call telling him to get back to Ireland as soon as he can. He flies out on the Friday, which is the showdown day. He sadly doesn't make it home in time to say goodbye to his brother, who had cancer. He then asked the Crows specifically, don't tell my teammates until after the showdown. They've been through enough. I don't want them to know until after the game. So after the game, his teammates are told of the terrible news, and clearly there's a lot of emotion in the room. And then he arrives back in Adelaide on Saturday just gone, so 2 days ago, and he's expected back after the bye. He's going through his rehab. This was Matthew Nicks talking yesterday on the emotional toll that it's taken at the club the last couple of weeks.
We've always got each other's back and we're always there. It's like one large family. And if anything, it brings you tighter through these tough periods. Can't tell you where it sits us at the moment, because some of our football on the field is not where we want it to be or is consistent. So if there's an effect with that, we don't know. But we're confident we will find it at the right time this season. We're really confident in that.
How much does this mitigate the mediocre form, if I can call it that, on the field for what the Crows are delivering at the moment, Kane?
I think it's hard to. I mean, even they would be struggling to put a weight on that. But all I would say is that their form was pretty average before all this happened. So is that your best guide? Like they limped into this season. So maybe that's your best evidence of to where they sit as a genuine premiership contender.
Just too many players at the top of the tree that are not playing great footy.
Rankin was great yesterday in the midfield.
Yeah, but that's been the first time we've seen that in the first 2 months of footy. Thilthorpe's off. Rachele's up and down like a yo-yo. Dawson's had his own, personal issues. So they just haven't done it.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it just looks like there's some gaping holes in their list. Like they're definitely, we knew about the midfield. They're too short through there. We thought their forward line was stacked because Fogarty was going to be able to replace Taylor Walker at some point. Texas 35, he can't continue to do this, and he's got a hammy and hasn't touched the ball for a fortnight. And Thilthorpe's dropped off, so you go, well, they need another key forward now. And then their key defenders with Kane out of the side has probably highlighted another flaw there. So there's some real holes that they need to sort out. Not sure, well, it's not going to be solved this year. Can they do it at the end of the season? We'll see.
What about Michael Annie? What's happened to Michael Annie?
Yeah, he's dropped off too.
I haven't seen him do anything for 2 months. Not one big moment, not one big play, not a shift in role. He was touted as a potential midfield option there for a while. I haven't seen it.
I loved him. And that was the thing that was going to dictate how far. What can you get from Curtin now? 2 weeks back, no worries. Pedler, is he going to be the pick 10 that they thought he was? No, he touches the ball 7 times a game, Luke Pedler, and 2 of them you go, wow. But then he's not seen for 3 quarters. Michael Annie's the other one. So they haven't had the rise. I don't think they've got what they thought they were going to get from Cumming and Peatling. So, yeah, they're a big watch for Matty Nix and the club, Tommy. A lot left on your agenda, Tommy, including the AFL chairman doing the media rounds.
Yes. So I picked up the paper yesterday, and he did. This is Craig Drummond did an interview with Jake Nile. Picked up the Herald Sun, and he did an interview with Jay Clark. And I've read on AFL.com he did an interview with Damien Barrett. So I've just cherry-picked the main talking points. The most interesting quote to me, Kingy, was strong intent for Tasmania to enter in 2028. Strong intent doesn't seem to guarantee that Tasmania is coming in. He clarified that there's no reason to believe it won't, but strong intent was a quote that certainly raised my eyebrows. He wants to encourage debate on the length of games. Now, this has been something that's been bubbling around for a bit. They're trying to shorten games, but an arc comes in, so the games are lengthened. And the other one is international expansion, very much focused on India, and has been since before COVID, the west coast of the USA. There's also capping of terms for commissioners and things like that as well. But those were the main talking points from his 3 interviews that he did with those 3 journalists.
Interesting. What would Jacob Gaynor do, Kingy, if this team was delayed?
Well, this is why getting hold of him was such an important piece. Don't worry about the captain or the coach. All these things, right? Throw up a game. You're going to get me in trouble here. If you want him to come after me, I know you do. I see what you're doing, and I knock it on the head. Round 24, Essendon play Port Adelaide. If they are stuck down the bottom of the table, why not trial these things in a one-off game? Have a look at 4 15-minute quarters plus time on. Have a look at no arc, back the umpires.
I don't think you can change the time length of games mid-season.
No, not mid-season. I'm not saying mid-season. For a one-off,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Or during the
meaningless
season.
Game.
Yeah, but during the season.
But they do it in other codes. This is why I'm throwing it up, Tommy.
Yep.
Because you make the rule changes without seeing them is a disaster. And we discuss them for the next 12 months.
We saw the shorter games in COVID, remember? So we've got an idea of what they look like. And they skew the stats, which would be an impact for...
Not for one given game. It would make no difference for Essendon Port Adelaide in round 24 to anything that they're doing or anything that we're doing.
It's an interesting point, yes.
And if they want to shorten the games, changing the rules to make sure more goals are kicked is going to lengthen the game as well. So, one change, the flow-on effect, they've got to think about this down the line more so than what I think the AFL do when they change these things. Justin Longmuir, Kingy and I debated this on Friday morning around the boost it would be for Freo to extend his deal and lock him in. He's the guy. That's my view. Kingy's got a slightly different one. What's the point? Just wait. What's your view and where does it sit?
So it's a bit along the lines of what we discussed on Crunch Time as well on Saturday. He's got this rolling contract, and the only 2 coaches that I could find that have had this rolling contract are David Noble at North Melbourne, which ended poorly, and then Brendan Bolton at Carlton, which ended poorly. And a year ago, you would have said this rolling contract suits the Dockers because they can move on from him. But now it actually suits Longmuir. And if a club came for Justin Longmuir, he is far more gettable than any other coach in the AFL. So there's still protections in place. But I wonder whether they'll actually revisit it because the club needs to lock him in, Kane. And the club needs to be able to say, no, he's our man for the next 3 or 4 years, if indeed they do believe that.
So, Kingy, your view was that, rarely is a coach poached. I think and I sort of said, well, what if Carlton go, okay, we could use him. They can just go and get him.
Yeah.
You don't think they would?
No.
Okay.
He's yet to prove himself with this.
Yeah.
I mean, this group. This is the exact same discussion we had with Chris Fagan. You've got the group. If your plan is the right plan, you will win. You will win enough finals to get yourself a grand final opportunity.
Yeah.
That this is what it's about performing. He's a nice guy. He's doing a great job, or he's doing a good job. Go and do a great job. He hasn't stamped anything yet.
Nah, there's not many good coaches though. Like, there's not many that you go, wow. Like he would be in the top half a dozen to 10 coaches right now. And if Carlton want a top 10 coach in the league, there is the risk that Freo could lose him. So, I think it adds a certain element of pressure on the Dockers.
Cozzy Pickett, quickly, I heard you talking before. So I think the most likely scenario is he gets off. The second most likely scenario is he gets a fine because it's low impact. And the third most likely scenario, so the least likely, is that he gets a week. Because
So why were you Butters' fine and you're not saying that with Cozzy?
Well, I think Cozzy gets him in the head more than Butters gets. Who did Butters? Fraser in the chest. So that's the only reason there. The action from Butters is clearly more dangerous if he gets it wrong than Cozzy Pickett. Although Cozzy Pickett is also just a couple of centimetres away from, as Kingy said, getting 4 to 6 weeks as well. So I think the most likely scenario is he gets off because I do think he tries to mitigate the circumstances and he does change his actions at the very last moment.
And I think Stephen King should be talking to Cozzy. He was honest and open with us, but I think you need to talk. You need to say, mate, we can't afford as a club for you to have 3 weeks on the sidelines, fit and healthy.
Think Josh Carr needs the same discussion with Butters, or that ship sailed?
Yeah.
Not his problem.
Yeah, no. The
Next coach's problem.
Next coach can worry about it.
Hey,
Good luck with that one, Bevo.
Now, Kane, I heard your drive by earlier, and
Yeah.
I'm willing to cop some feedback from you. I did enjoy the segment H.O.F or Not last week, but I'm going to play it anyway.
Now on Fireball.
So
This is H.O.F or Not.
the best thing you can do when you get feedback is to take it on board and just try to make yourself better, Kane.
So the thing that you just a bit of feedback. You answered the question yes or no before I'd read out all the stats last week. So
Noted.
I said a player, and you said no. I was like, Tom, you're sort of ruining the segment. You've got to let me read, build the drama, build up to it, then ask the question.
Yeah.
Kane,
You
I
shut
saw,
it down
A
too
little bit of
quickly.
foreplay,
I saw you,
Tommy.
Kingy. Kane, I saw you on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday last week. I spoke to you on Saturday.
Oh.
You could have given me the feedback
I
off air.
could have. I
But
could have.
understand you're
No,
pretty
this is
busy.
Fireball, mate.
Okay, so H.O.F or Not, Kingy.
Yeah.
On this record, should this person be an AFL Hall of Famer?
Yep.
4-time best and fairest, 2-time All-Australian, Premiership player, 300 games, South Australian Hall of Fame, Port Adelaide Hall of Fame. Does that record warrant AFL Hall of Fame?
How many games?
300 on the dot.
People are
It's
gonna
right
think-
on the cusp, isn't it?
What about character?
Character's questionable. On-air character's excellent.
What about character assassinations?
Absolutely
Yeah.
tick, tick, tick.
I might have to
Tom?
abstain from this one.
Yeah, just you sit out. Tom. Thank you for
I personally think that is a Hall of Fame worthy career at some stage.
the injury updates for Carbone lawyers. Injured and need a good lawyer. You know what to do. Get Carbone on the phone. It's a no. It's a no from me. Link
He's not
McCarthy's.
popular down the AFL. though.
No, they love me at the
He
AFL.
gave him the flick.
I spoke to all. They were so good last week to do with the AFL.
I heard he went in there and he said, "Listen, this is what I'm getting from Sportsbet. If you can match this,
Double
Do
it.
you know
we
what?
can
Do you know what
talk."
I'll miss? You know, they have the most magnificent sandwiches at the All Australian, like these
Gourmet.
gourmet, yeah,
Yeah.
like triple ply sort of
Yeah.
set, like triple cuts. I
There'd be
should
no,
say.
there'd be
Set-
no,
oh,
there'd be no Dennis from the original cafe style.
gee, I'm gonna miss those sandwiches.
yeah.
I miss
Yeah.
Dennis,
I'm
actually.
hungry. now.
Hey, Tom, great stuff, mate. There's some injuries around the place, but if you want to know what's happening, check out your club sites. I'm sure there'll be up-to-date information on the club sites with their injuries. Good stuff, mate.
Thank
We'll
you,
see
Kane.
on
Thank you, King.
Agenda setters tonight
cricket,
or not?
It depends what's going on.
We didn't get any cricket up there.
No,
got
what's
some
happening to Adam
cricket updates for you.
Zampa?
What's happening?
The BBL
Where's Zampa?
privatisation, it's all up in
Where's
up in
Zampa?
there.
Have we
I
seen
heard
him?
there's some cricketers holding out and
There
are
is.
threatening not to play for their country.
What?
Check that out on the new ball.
You can,
With
Tuesday night.
Barack.
With Barack.
Tuesday night.
With the ball.